They say love is blind, and I was living proof. 2 years, countless memories, and a life built together in suburban Atlanta. All of it was a lie. My name is Alexis, and this is my story. I remember the day I met Dwayne like it was yesterday. He was charming, handsome, and kind. We met through mutual friends, and I was swept off my feet. He was in medical school, and I was his biggest supporter. I drove him to his rotations, cooked his meals, and listened to him vent about his long days. He needed me, and I felt needed. For the first time in my life, I felt like I had found my person. As we settled into our routine, I began to notice little things that seemed off. He never wanted me to meet his coworkers, and when I asked him about it, he would brush it off, saying they were just a bunch of boring people I wouldn't be interested in. He started taking up new hobbies, golfing, hiking, and poker nights with his friends. I would ask him about his days, and he would tell me about the guys he was hanging out with, but whenever I asked to meet them, he would change the subject. At first, I thought it was just his way of having some guy time, and I was happy to give him that. But as time went on, I started to feel like I was being pushed out of his life. He began working out obsessively, and his appearance became more important to him. He would spend hours in the gym, and when he came home, he would barely even notice me. I felt like I was losing him, but I did not know what to do. My coworker, Rachel, noticed the changes in me too. She would ask me how things were going with Dwayne, and I would tell her everything was fine. But the truth was, I was starting to feel like I was walking on eggshells around him. I never knew what would set him off. It was not until I found those receipts that everything started to unravel. I was looking for a pair of boots in his dresser drawer, and I stumbled upon a stack of receipts from a high-end jewelry store. My heart sank as I saw the prices and the dates. These were not gifts for me. A knot formed in my stomach as I thought about all the times he had told me he could not afford to buy me the things I wanted. That night, I could not sleep. My mind was racing with questions. Who was he buying jewelry for? Was he seeing someone else? I felt a familiar sensation, the one where my mind starts to spiral out of control. I tried to push it down, to tell myself I was being paranoid, but I could not shake the feeling. The next day, I confronted him about the receipts. He told me they were for a colleague. Yeah, that's it. A colleague. He said I was being paranoid, that I was overreacting. He made me doubt my own memory and perception of events. This was not new. It had been happening for months. He would tell me I was being too sensitive, that I was overreacting, and I would start to doubt myself. But I could not shake the feeling. I decided to hire a private investigator to dig deeper. A few days later, I got a call from him. He told me that Dwayne was leading a double life. He had proposed to another woman, a woman he met at one of his poker nights, just a week before he proposed to me. I felt like I had been punched in the gut. My world was turned upside down. I could not breathe. I could not think. All I could do was feel. The days that followed were a blur. I went through the motions, but I was numb. I could not eat. I could not sleep. I just existed. And then one night, I woke up to him calling me by the wrong name. It was her name, the name of the other woman. That's when I knew I had to take action. I gathered my friends and family, and we set up an intervention. I wanted him to know that I knew everything, that I was not going to let him get away with it. The confrontation was intense. He tried to gaslight me again, to make me doubt my own sanity, but I was not having it. I had proof, and I was not going to let him manipulate me anymore. You're a liar, I said, my voice shaking with anger. You've been lying to me for 2 years. You've been using me, manipulating me. You proposed to me, while you were engaged to someone else. He looked at me, a mixture of guilt and shame on his face. Alexis, I can explain? Explain? I laughed. There's no explanation. You've broken me, Dwayne. You've broken me into a million pieces. I took a deep breath, feeling a sense of strength I never knew I had. I deserve better than you. I deserve someone who will love me for who I am, not someone who will use me for their own gain. As I walked out of the house, I felt a sense of liberation. I was finally free. Free from the toxic relationship. Free from the lies. Free from the pain. But as I looked back, I realized that I had been living in a state of constant fear. Fear of losing him. Fear of being alone. Fear of not being good enough. I had been living in a state of constant doubt. Doubting my own worth. Doubting my own sanity. It took me a long time to realize that I was worth more than what he did to me. I was worth more than the pain he caused me. I was strong, resilient, and capable, and I was not going to let him define me anymore. I started to rebuild my life, to rediscover who I was outside of our relationship. I started to heal, to let go of the pain and the anger. And as I did, I realized that I was not alone. There were others out there who had gone through similar experiences, who had been hurt and betrayed by the people they trusted. And that's when I knew that I had to share my story. I had to tell the world about what happened to me, about how I survived and thrived. I had to let other women know that they were not alone, that they were strong and capable and deserving of love and respect. As I look back on my journey, I realized that it was not easy. It was hard, painful, and scary, but it was worth it, because I am stronger now, wiser now, and more compassionate now. And I know that I will always be okay, no matter what life throws my way.